Welcome back, everyone, to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast, and this time it is going to be a 4v4, as you can see, on Essen Steelworks. There's going to be Panzer Poacher from the Iron Cross clan, or whatever the hell that clan is, Royal Koala as the UKF, Stalker, get out there Stalker, of course playing as the Soviets, and Ashesteer and Stardust as the UKF against... They already see Kleinerheimer with his Stern Pioneers, of course, OKW. You noobs in my team make me sick, also with the OKW with Stern Pioneers. More Stern Pioneers, Hakuba. And is it going to be Stern Pioneers? No, at least one Wehrmacht. It's a Pioneer squad, and he is in dubio. Oh damn. 4v4 in Essen Steelworks. It's gonna be, I believe, the title said it was auto match, so no arranged teams. This should be useful. We're gonna see some improvised coordination. It's always more fun that way. And yeah, of course, the Brits jumping in are already taking that building. It's gonna be a disappointment for the Stern Pioneers. They absolutely wanted to get in here as quickly as possible, trying to grab that crucial little mill, but they were not able to. However, on the left-hand side, some Stern piles over here from noobs have been able to get a success as well in capturing this building. So overall, both sides kind of trading good spots with each other. And right now, Ashesteer and Stardust is going to have an interesting position for his MG, his Vickers. Unfortunately, he's probably going to get flanked. There's a lot of ways to flank around on the left-hand side for Essen Steelworks. Of course, as you can see, the Sternpire is already retreating, backing off from that line of fire of the Vickers. On the right side, there's a huge brawl going through. There's units just kind of scattered about all the place. And yeah, there's going to be the Sternpires being forced away. There's mortars firing through at the British units that were in the house. They have abandoned that for another house, or no, they just retreated. And the Volksgrenadiers have actually taken their place. So are they going to be mortared by their own guys? No, because the mortars are focusing through on these two riflemen who are trying to flank. But the MG is going to set up to end that flank quite quickly. I tried to get behind that Opel Blitz truck, and for one of those squads that worked, for another one it hasn't. And that squad is going to be forced to retreat away. The center has been kind of left unguarded by both sides. And right now, these penals coming through for Stalker. They're going to try to face off of these Stern piles. But, oh, the big Saptor charge is probably going to miss. Yeah, it's going to miss. And the Stern piles getting behind them on the other car are going to murder them from behind and forcing them back at base. On the left side, it seems like the Axis is being flanked by the Brits. But the Brits don't really have all that much in order to really push this flank home. I mean, they might be able to capture this strategic point, and they might be able to capture this other strategic point, thus getting themselves quite a few nice access points, decreasing their income for basically every resource. But the Germans are doing the same right now on the basically the specular side on their base. And right now, you noobs in my team could just kind of come through and capture this point and have a nice cutoff on the allied points on the left-hand side. But the Axis really needs to try to find some way to deal with all of this kind of defensive emplacement that the allies are building up. However, it's not going to be too hard considering how many units they have and how close they are to their base. Right now, there is a truck moving through, and it's going to be a battle headquarters for Kleinerheimer, thus allowing the Germans a lot more of a influence over the left-hand side with that, of course, very, very strong rapid retreat, rapid healing, rapid reinforcing. Closer to the action, of course. On the right side, this mortar has really been working to get... put the Germans back on the map over here. They have been able to also take out the American mortar that was purchased in response to that. And yeah, the British MG is coming through, trying to just hold the last line of defense at the ambulance. But it's actually kind of dangerous to do that against a mortar, because what if the mortar finds what is going on? Do the Germans know about that ambulance? No, they don't. But if anything comes in and scouts that out, these two Granatwerfers, which have already gotten 9 kills and 2 levels of veterancy combined between them, are going to be able to just kind of smash through any allied units who are just trying to get a bit of a rest and refit at the ambulance. That would not be very nice for them. Yeah, these Pioneers might be able to finish through the barbed wire. Oh, are they gonna get massacred? Oh, these units actually nicely destroying the barbed wire. They targeted that very quickly before it could get finished, because that would have been very annoying to deal with if they weren't able to kind of flank around this route. So sappers from all over are putting themselves busy, placing down mines, placing down barbed wire, sandbags, maybe sandbags. I don't see any sandbags, but probably should be doing that as soon as the cover gets destroyed by all the mortar fire, of course. It's going to be even more useful. Ooh, damn. Very good shots from that mortar. As you can see, bodies littering the battlefield from those very, very deadly raindrops, you could say. And yeah, the right side is going to go to the Germans because of that action from the mortars. The left-hand side is also going pretty well for the Germans. The double OKW, of course, providing some decent early game advantages to the Germans, despite the fact that, of course, they are on the side with the penal guy. The penal guy hasn't really built any penals, only one penal. I wonder what he has been spending his manpower on, Stalker. I mean, he's built those units right off the bat at the start. And now he hasn't reinforced them at all with any other units. Of course, he's been spending his manpower mostly just on reinforcements. Although he could have also been going for caches, which he hasn't done. So it's very interesting. Oh boy, Lieutenant is in a bad spot. He's right near the mortar, which means that he's a very, very big target. Although the ambulance is at least allowing the Allies way to push back the Germans from this side. They're not going to be able to push through the ambulance. If the ambulance is constantly reinforcing these units, the Axis are not going to be able to push through. So that ambulance allows the Allies a little bit of a last line of defense. And there's also a 3-inch mortar emplacement coming through for Royal Koala, which is a very good idea. Of course, he's also going with the Royal Engineers. Royal Engineers going to be allowing him to use those emplacements that are maximum because of the stand fast ability. There's also another 3-inch mortar emplacement, which hasn't been able to really do too much, but it's there. It's going to allow the Allies even more of a defense against the Axis mortars. Of course, the mortar emplacements, being emplacements, do have increased range, so they are going to be able to outrange the German mortars and force them out. Very nice push from these riflemen is also going to accomplish basically the same thing until it gets shut down once again by the SMG-42, taking quite a lot of damage on these riflemen. And yeah, they should probably retreat. Right now, the Germans do have a triple cap going, so that's kind of bad for the Allies. Need to find some way to capture at least the center and the right-hand side of the map, which is where the Germans are weakest. However, this machine gun in the grain elevator is going to be not really easy to defeat. Of course, with the presence of this 3-inch mortar, they should be able to just kind of bombard it out. And on the left side, the shock troops are finally on the field, and they are massacring German troops. Looks like something died, or sounds like something died. It is a Lux, which died to an AEC, so sorry for missing that. And it looks like, well, I mean, there's a few mines for the Germans here. But did he hit an Allied mine? I don't see any craters. Did he just kind of run into? No, that has to be a mine crater. Yeah, most likely just kind of hit a mine and was then picked up by the AC. So very well finishing off that unit. And ooh, there goes that mill. Huge damage coming through, of course, from the self charge, and now the shock troops are going to be able to use that, jump across, and get very, very close to these poor Volksgrenadiers who are going to get gunned down by the Papa Shot 41s as they just kind of storm with fire. And right now, they need to get out of the building because it's very, 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 very close to collapsing. And they get off. So the shock troops only losing one guy and getting quite a lot of kills. Even Vet 1 from that skirmish, so doing quite well, showing the world their superiority. They're pretty much the best close-range combat troops. There are 6-men armor, which is actually a unique thing to them. No other infantry unit in the game has that body armor. Body armor just allowing them to survive in the action longer, so pretty much being the tankiest infantry squad around. With those Papa Shot 41s also having a massive DPS at close to medium ranges. Stuka on the field on the right hand side is going to provide quite a lot of damage to the Germans, and especially going to be useful against the ambulance. Luckily, it seems like the Germans don't really know where that ambulance is. They've been shooting a little bit blindly in the dark, and that first barrage doesn't really do all that much damage to the Allied units. Only 1 kill on the machine gun crew. So overall, not the best possible thing for our glorious German players. I mean, they do have at least a nice combination going. Let's see if I can find it out. For Hakuba, he has the infrared half-track from the battle headquarters, and the, of course, Stuka. Also, another Stuka from you noobs in my team make me sick is going to notice that on his side, his services are required, and this time it nails the ambulance. So very well played. As you can see, this time with the support of the infrared half-track, instead of just shooting blind, there's going to be a much better barrage, and almost getting Ved 1 already, and killing that ambulance. Both very, very good things for the Germans. On the left, it seems like the Germans are still holding, despite Stalker finally getting some combat-worthy troops. Of course, the shock troops are growing in number. Second squad. Well, 2 squads of shock troops is really enough. Sorry. At this point, it seems like the biggest danger for the Stukas is going to be the AC. So let's take a look at the teching that everybody has gone for. Not really much time. It is a 4v4, but I'm going to really quickly go over it. So Panzer Poacher goes for the company command post. Company command... No, he's got the platoon command post. Platoon command post and the battalion command post for the major. So he's going to have, I guess... Well, he doesn't have a lot of fuel, but soon enough, he's going to have the retreat point set up back here. Of course, with the help of the Ford Assembly for the Brits and a new ambulance that he's building to get healing. And of course, going to get the Jacksons maybe later. Then his friend Royal Koala has gone for company command post. He does have that basically unlocked, and well, he does not have that much fuel, but soon enough he could go for a Firefly. He's got enough munitions to expend some tulip rockets on the enemy, and so I feel like the Firefly right now would be the best option because it would just be the most, I would say, safe pick. There goes that mine. Unfortunate. Then going up on the line, Stalker doesn't have any real teching done. I mean, he's got a tank of battalion command. Going for an Su-76 at 12 minutes, a little late. I feel like he's only trying to bridge the gap to the Su-152 with a lot of Su-76s, which could work out as a strategy considering what the Germans might be going for on the left. Might just be a lot of Panzer IVs, who knows. And of course, Ashes, Tear, and Stardust hasn't actually gone for the company command post either. So he's very, very low tech. But the AEC for him has been working very, very well. It's actually very scary for the Stukas and the infrared half-track, because if this AC can come in from the rear, use its speed, and get behind the enemy, and it does have quite a good chance of actually catching one of these vehicles off guard and destroying it. The Germans looks like are the ones who did the most teching right now. Kleinerreimer has gone for the Schwerpanzer quarters and a P4. P4, a very good choice against what the Soviets over here are doing. Stalker is only going to have really the Su-76 on the field to counter that. However, not going to do quite as well against the Ashes, Tear, and Stardust with that 6-pounder, although the 6-pounder is on the right side. So interesting little positioning for the players on the Allied side. It looks like we have one player taking the left, one player taking the center, really, Ashes, Tear, and Stardust, and then 2 players on the right concentrating their forces. It has been slightly working, but even with all of that concentration, the right side VP is still under the control of the Germans. So the Allies on this side need to kind of hurry up and use their local number superiority to their advantage and push back the Germans. Yeah, as you can see, the left is still kind of Still kind of a bit of a fight between the Panzer IV and the remnants of the Allied forces here. Here comes a nice AT grenade on the Panzer IV, so Kleinerreimer is going to try to escape, nicely using the factory as cover against the Su-76 getting out of the line of fire. But the shock troops are actually coming through and are destroying these Volksgrenadiers, allowing the Su-76 to come in and finish off the last remaining HP of the Panzer IV. So very good job by Stalker. He's in a pretty precarious position, considering what his ally is kind of forcing him to do against 2 players, but it's working out for him. You noobs of my team make me sick, of course, also is helping out his friends on the right side with the Stuka. That means, of course, he's gone for the mechanized regiment, but he's also got the Sure Panzer, and I wonder what he's going to be planning to get from that. Center falls once again to Ashes Tier and Stardust, thus allowing the Allies a little bit more of a reprieve, along with the nice capturing of the left-hand side by the shock troops. So the Allies are starting to come back into the VP game, and oh, this is just a massacre. Poor Sherpioneers getting completely demolished by the shock troops. And of course the Flamer Engineers getting into the factory and forcing away the Volksgrenadiers is not good either for Kleinerreimer. In the center right, we have a Hakuba, who has gone for all of the buildings, so of course he's gonna try to go with most likely try to go with a King Tiger, although he's also got Breakthrough Doctrine in his doctrine, so he might just want to go with the Jagdtiger. I feel like the King Tiger would be a lot more versatile because his allies are not going for that, so you know, it would be quite useful. And as far as heavy tank destroyers go, I feel like the Elephant would be a little bit better for Indubio than the Jagdtiger for, who was this guy's name? Hakuba. Of course, Indubio has gone for a P4 from his support armor corps, and he's just got a very, very solid infantry force and support weapon force. So he is basically just kind of biding his time, not really going for anything too weird right now, like his allied opponents seem to be going. But he's just kind of, yeah, biding his time. He actually went for the Jaeger armor doctrine, so he's going to have the Elephant later on. And I'm guessing that's what he's waiting for right now, the resource stockpile that he has built up. Speaking of doctrines, we still have a little bit of an unpicked minority that is still undecided, like Hakuba and Kleinerreimer. But in Dubio, and also new noobs in my team make me sick, so actually the Axis are all undecided, whereas the Allies, of course, we have Shock Motor Heavy Tactics by Stalker, gonna wait for the ISU 152 and using those, of course, shock troops right off the bat. I wonder if the Axis are really thinking that he's gonna go for an IS-2 rather than an ISU 152, because usually when you see shock troops, it's shock rifle frontline tactics, so you really are gonna be expecting the IS-2 and nothing else. But we'll see about that later. Of course, the Elephant is gonna be useful against both ISU 152 and IS-2. There goes that Panzer IV. Centaur actually on the field for Royal Koala, working as a bit of a bait for the P4. So very well played over here. And finally, once more, onto the bridge for the Axis onto the left side, but they're gonna get pushed away by the Allies once again. I mean, with the shock troops coming into play, it's gonna be very hard for Kleinerreimer to just kind of hold this place to the left, because really, the shock troops can deal with the MG34s quite nicely with their, of course, smoke grenades, and they can basically just send the Volksgrenadiers packing really easily, so it's gonna be not that easy. And yeah, so here comes the capture, here comes the murder, and they're gonna have to escape very quickly, otherwise the Papa Shah 41s aren't gonna do them any favors. The right side, however, is still just kind of a gauntlet of Allied and Axis support weapons dueling it out at medium to long ranges. This is really the most annoying kind of fight to fight in Big 44s. Once it gets to the stalemate, it gets really annoying. And right now, both sides are kind of just biding their time. We have, in the center, we have you noobs on my team make me sick, and Ashes, Tears, and Stardust just kind of fighting back and forth to capture the center VP, and now really nobody is coming out on top because of their attentions being kind of split elsewhere. And the right side is just kind of a mass of infantry and artillery just kind of derping into each other. Not really any major tactical advances and you know, stratagems being employed. So right now it's just kind of Blob comes in, Blob gets RD'd, Blob goes out. And right now, yeah, the Centaur, of course, is very, very much in its element, as you can see, just kind of strafing through with that 20mm strafing fire. A very underrated ability that can absolutely decimate enemy infantry. And it's doing quite well for itself. It's grabbed up 10 kills, I feel like. Yeah, 10 kills. So quite well. And right now, there's a Sherman coming through for Panzerpoacher. Interesting purchase at 20 minutes a Sherman, although it's going to be quite useful against enemy infantry. So right now, going to be in its element at dealing with MGs. On the left, yeah, as you can see, we have Kleinreimer trying to deal with the shock troops. It's not working very well for him. And there's a T-34-76 on the field for Stalker. He's going to be able to bridge the gap to the Su-152, also with a very nice versatile medium tank. He's also got some demo charges, maybe mines scattered all about, so it's also working. He's also working to basically fortify up the left-hand side, booby trap it, and allow himself to bleed the Germans dry once they push into the area. What about the Stukas? And oh, of course, here comes Hakuba's KT. Pretty good choice. Will be very, very useful against the, of course, Sherman. It's going to be even more useful against the anti-tank guns because there's so many anti-tank guns over here. The King Tiger is going to be able to probably single them out and destroy them with its very, very effective HE, allowing both the Ostwind and, of course, all the other vehicles all around here a little bit more of a breathing space. And, yeah, going to be working against the Allied defenses. Slowly but surely, the KT just kind of needs to not overextend, not get itself too close to enemy infantry that can throw anti-tank grenades at them. In this case, it's only this Rifleman squad by, of course, who is this guy? Panzerpoacher. If he doesn't allow this anti-tank grenade equipped squad near him, he's going to be basically safe. Of course, there's now the Sherman Firefly on the field with the Tulip rockets, and Royal Koala has enough munitions for 2 salvos, so he's going to need to be careful about that too. There goes that Ordnance Expounder anti-tank gun. Left-hand side is still being kind of Katyusha'd. Is that a Katyusha? Yeah, getting Katyusha'd. Although, I mean, the Allies having control of the VP. At this point, we're starting to get to that point where everybody starts to care less about resources and more about VPs, especially the Allies with 214 VPs left. And right now, ooh, the Piats of the infantry sections over here, along with the Tulip rockets, are going to be working against the Ostwind, destroying it. Where was the KT during all of that? I have no clue. It was probably just derping around back at the base, probably getting repaired. Which is why you should really invest into Sturm Pioneers once you go with the KT, because if you have to pull it back all, you know, the time it gets any kind of injuries all the way back to the mechanized regiment headquarters, it's gonna take a while because this thing is slow as hell. So really, getting a couple of Sturm piles so that you can repair on the field is gonna be very, very valuable for you. And right now, the KT is not in the best spot. It's getting flanked by the the Allied infantry. And also getting artillery by the British guns back at base. There's also an assault artillery coming through for Hakuba, which is over here in the center fuel point. So I wonder if this Firefly is going to get hit by it. So here we have the first shells falling through, and it's just mortars. There's the artillery. Here it is. Quite a lot of fire coming through. However, the Sherman Firefly doesn't really care too much. Comes in and gets quite a lot of damage off on the KT. The Sherman tries to flank. It's going to fail epically. The Sherman Firefly is still pushing through 17-pounder shots into the frontal armor of this thing, and it's doing quite well for itself. The bazookas for these rear echelon troops are trying to help, but it's not enough. And actually, the smoke coming through from the assault artillery is going to help the Allies hide away and escape. Although the Stuka is trying to get through an attack. I wonder what. On the left-hand side, there's also a nice fight from another Königstiger from Kleinreimer, which is probably going to be able to push back the Allies. Looks like the Stuka barrage didn't really end up doing anything. Was it on the... No, it was not. If the Axis actually discover all of this is not going to be good for the Allies, because they can probably barrage that. However, as you can see, the infrared half-track does not have the range for that, so it's only going to discover up to this Priest. And the Priest is... Oh, damn. There goes that vet-free mortar crew. Priest is going to be barraging the battery headquarters. On the left side, the KT scrapped it out a little bit with the allied vehicles, and of course it's triggering Stalker to go with a Su-85. Stalker is in an okay spot, but his problem is really the lack of versatility. He's lost one of his shock troops. He's got the D-3476, which can deal with basically all threats, but right now he needs to have some of his units just kind of face the enemy in a bad arc of fire, like of course the Su-85 and the Su-76. So, considering he's got quite a lot of a front to cover, quite a lot of a frontage, he needs to basically have these narrow arc of fire vehicles cover all this front. It's not going to be good for him if the enemy decides to flank him. On the right side, things are a lot more concentrated, as you can see. There's just a very narrow front where all of the enemy units are just kind of concentrated, and both of these sides know where the other enemy is. They know where their artillery needs to fire. There goes the squad. And right now, the King Tiger is in a bad spot. The T-3476 is going to try to chase it and get behind it, and it's going to succeed thanks to the help of these fuel tanks. And also, some AT grenades going to come through from the center. However, the King Tiger phases through the T-3476. The precision bombing strike from Stalker failed and missed. However, the Su-76, thanks to the distraction of the T-3476, is still getting some shots in on the KT. There's also the Su-85, which has just reached the field. Right now, that's going to allow the Allies a lot more firepower against the frontal armor of this thing, which is still holding up quite nicely to the Allied troops. Once again, another bounce from the Su-85. Finally, however, we do see some results, and Katyusha Barrage actually finishes it off. So there goes the KT for Kleinreimer. He's going to lose his very, very strong heavy tank and replace it with a Sturm Tiger, which at this point might be a bit of a mistake because of the presence of this T-3476, which might just be able to hunt down the Sturm Tiger and at least pester it back to base. Right side now sees an Elephant on the field, which is going to do, of course, very, very well against this British composition with an Aviary and Sherman Firefly. The composition is getting led by the Centaur, which is, of course, a bad idea because the Centaur is basically the least effective unit of all of these, and it goes down, most vulnerable unit. And at this point, the Firefly sees that the KT is in bad shape, tries to get a last tulip rocket in, but it dies because it kind of realizes too late that it was a trap, and there was a lot of German AT being focused on that one point. However, the incognito threat, yeah, well, in a way, the incognito threat would be these Shermans. I mean, more Shermans. Shermans and priests from Panzer Poacher. That's an interesting combination. Now, 4v4, oh, damn, that was an interesting miss. I wonder what these Shermans are trying to do. They could get behind the Elephant and the KT, but they need to do so quickly, otherwise the KT is going to get repaired. Do they know where the KT is? Probably not. That's the problem for them. They want to know where the KT is and where the Axis units are located. Now they know where the Elephant is, and they know it's retreating, so they're going to be a little bit more careful about what they're doing. I feel like they need to be unleashed at some point. These two Shermans are just kind of waiting, and at this point I feel like this is the worst possible moment. He's waited too long. So if Panzer Poacher had unleashed these Shermans earlier, he would have been able to just kind of run through, make the sort of big drive-by of a lifetime with the Shermans, but at this point it's too late and he has to retreat. And he's also kind of alerted the enemy that these Shermans exist, and they're on that side of the map, so overall, not the best. You noobs in my team make me sick has gone with another KTs. This is the third one, actually, out from the Axis. Two of them, of course, being already destroyed. And we have a big swarm of vehicles on the left side for Stalker. He's going to finally be able to recapture this left side VP. The Germans are still ahead when it comes to the VPs, 397 to 169. That's what she said. And at this point, nice job from the Sherman Firefly destroying the Jagdpanzer IV, which had gotten to VIT-2 from the armored skirts. However, the KT in the front just does not care about these anti-tank guns and 1v2s them. However, he's taken fire from the Sherman Firefly, and there's not much around that can support him. So he's going to have to escape back as quickly as possible. Huh. Things are not looking all that great for the Allies still. There's just so much German heavy armor that they're going to have to deal with. Especially this elephant is going to be annoying. However, they're kind of getting helped by the fact that the Germans really are not really using their advantages. I mean, they've got an elephant and they're keeping it in a part of the map with a lot of line of sight blockers for some reason. So as you can see, it has to be kept very, very much backwards to avoid it being flanked from unexpected directions and to allow it a little bit more of an line of sight and a line of fire. If the elephant would be employed in the center and these KTs on the right, the KTs would just be able to roll over anything at close to medium ranges. And it would be able to just very easily obliterate clumped up allied infantry. But the elephant on this side really can't do too much. I mean, there's nothing that it can do when just a bunch of bazookas come through and try to deal with it, except, you know, cry and call for the help of the Stuka. So I feel like that this is a big mistake right now that the Axis are making. They're allowing the Allies to play with their strengths against their weaknesses, aka put their weaker tank destroyers against their heavy tanks in the center, which is where the tank destroyers really are shining. And there's also now a 17-pounder in the area for Royal Koala. Although it's not going to last very long. As you can see, it's already getting rained on by the support guns. On the left side, we have a nice flank coming through actually from this. Oh, damn. Was that a shock? No, that was a penal squad getting absolutely obliterated by the Sturmtiger. Hello, shit. Sorry for the coughing, but that is a bit of a problem. Big of a problem? A bit of a problem. So the, Sherman Firefly hitting a mine is now going to be in a very bad way. The King Tiger comes through. King Tiger doesn't have to fear the 17-pounder that much because of all this line of sight blocking that is going on. However, there's a bit of a counterattack attempt from the left side, a bit of a left hook from Stalker. It's going to get forced off by Klein and Reimer's troops. And right now, there's not much that the Allies can do as the King Tiger just kind of pushes through. However, it's right now putting itself in a very dangerous spot as this T-34-76 is now able to get into its rear. And there's really nothing to support it, only a Volkswehr in your squad, which only has one Panzerfaust. And who's the Panzerfaust? Well, I have no idea because this Su-85 is already at a mine. More mines destroy the T-34-76's engine, but it's not enough. The King Tiger goes down. On the right side, the other King Tiger is in a bad way as well. It's able to evade the AVRE Petard. However, the Elephant has been destroyed by the Shermans. Once again, the Shermans flanking, interestingly enough, from the same side. Pretty big mistake by the Axis, allowing those Shermans free pass onto their vulnerable backlines. And right now, the King Tiger is also being forced back. However, it's kind of showing its rear armor to a lot of bazookas, which is a huge mistake. Hakuba is really not microing his KT at all. I wonder what he's managing right now. Maybe his Panzer Fusiliers, but it's definitely not doing him any favors. Eats a very dangerous spigot. And right now, these repair crews are repairing the Shermans, but they realize what is going on, and they get back on the Shermans. They could be able to destroy this KT, finishing it off from the rear. There's also some priest fire coming through to help them out. However, they get spotted by a cheeky little fuel cache, so this could be bad for them. What do they see? They see the KT, especially with the help of that recon plane that just died, and they managed to destroy the KT. And also, there is a veteran C4 Stuka sitting in the lake, enjoying a nice, you know, summer out with his just feet in the water. Destroyed by the Shermans. There's also a lot of soft targets over here coming through. What do these Shermans see? They see blood in the water, but not really anything specific. They hit some mines. Actually, the Searchlight gets hit and does not die. However, the Sherman still follows through, and the drive-by of a lifetime for this guy is going to end this way. So overall, very well played by the Allies, getting some very crucial kills. However, the Germans basically have enough resources to replace these units. I mean, Indubio is only going to need to wait for some extra manpower. And this is the very, very good effect that the Allied sort of light artillery had on the field. I mean, we have 41 kills between these two free inchers, and then the American mortar 10 kills. Maybe it was even destroyed at some point and remanned. The priest somewhere. I have no idea where the priest is. Where's the priest? It's over here. Priest is at 17 kills, and that mortar pit that was over here got destroyed. So there he goes. So lots of kills for the medium to light artillery in this area, bleeding the Germans dry, and allowing also Ashes, Sweet, and sweet tears of joy. Ashes, Tears, and Stardust has gone for a couple of lovely, couple of MLRSs, land mattresses. Although this land mattress has been doing very well, even though I hate the land mattress, it's done pretty well. I mean, 27 kills. And now, because of that, the Axis have been forced to spend a lot of manpower just to keep their infantry at bay. And, well, now that there's no big heavy tanks, they don't have the manpower to use their fuel. They don't have the infantry around because they've been losing it to the artillery. Now they're just getting pushed back across the entire map. And it looks like even their advantage of, machine guns have been turned against them. So it's really not a good spot. Tulips even being employed against the Schwer Panzer quarters. So this is pretty not good for them, because their buildings themselves are being kind of targeted. On the left, Kleinreimer is the only one who's managed to keep a sort of a balanced force. Now he's got the Sturmtiger, he's got his KT back on the field, but he's having to face a pretty dangerous opponent in Stalker. Now the center is a just absolute mess. The AVRE is there, and the AVRE has been just doing very well. 13 kills. Oh, big assault artillery, though. Taking out a lot of support weapons for the Allies. And while the Allies still have that triple cap going, the Germans are trying to push back in the center and the left. We'll see if they're successful, though. Another barrage from the land mattress, getting some kills. But overall, things are not looking good for the Axis. If the Allies can keep at least 2 of these VPs under their control, they've got the Axis down to 200 VPs. So that means that they're going to be in a great spot. Here comes the Sturmtiger rocket. It only clips did a little bit more than clipping a conscript squad, but still, it's a conscript squad, so it's not that big of a loss. And it's still alive anyway. And right now, as you can see, the Allied infantry is just kind of ranging ahead, and the Shermans are back again with their tricks. They're coming through, 2 of them. One of them is veteran, of course, from a veteran of the earlier drive-by. They managed to destroy one of the Stugs. Pretty bad idea to go over the Stug at this point. And right now, yeah, there's only this Rakenwerfer here that is going to be trying to stop them. The Shermans wisely decide to just kind of take what they've been given and escape. Fucking A. My headset fell. Sorry. Yeah, they decide to just kind of take what they've been given, pop some smoke and get out. Very wise move. The only other target in the area is a Jagdtiger. Right, Hakuba had gone for breakthrough. I saw the Panzer Fusiliers earlier, which have now been completely demolished, it seems. I feel like that's a big mistake. Well, no, I don't feel like that's a big mistake. I know that that's a big mistake. Because, yeah, okay, it's going to do okay against Fireflies. And it's going to outrange them. But it's going to be worthless against the, massive Allied infantry swarms and artillery batteries that are just absolutely pounding all of the German ground troops into dust. And right now, as you can see, even against the Fireflies, it's not going to be all that useful because of the tulip rockets getting a nice bit of a crit. Right now, the AVRE is trying to come through and deal with the rest of the supporting units. It's going to be able to at least destroy the, little Rakenwerfer. There's a lot of damage. At least the Firefly goes down, so that's a bit of a success for the Jagdtiger. Although it wasn't really the Jagdtiger's success, it was more like the Rakenwerfer. More land mattress comes in and just kind of, plows the fields of Germans. So not really a good spot to be in if you are Deutschland right now. Even more damage from the land mattress is going to force away all the infantry. On the left side is the only place where the Germans have a little bit of success because, again, Reimer's sort of unit composition is a little bit more useful. Although he's still going to be in a pretty bad spot because of his KT being in a very, very unsupported advanced position, and it's going to get flanked in by the T-34-76. Here comes the L2 Precision Bombing Strike, which might miss or it might not. Right now, the Sturm Tiger is going to die to this Tulip Rocket flank. The Bombing Strike is going to miss. However, the T-34-76 is able to do quite a lot of damage to the Königstiger and at least force it back, being destroyed eventually by the Jagdpanzer IV and this Raketenwerfer. However, it's not going to be enough to save the Sturm Tiger, and a trade of a Sturm Tiger for a T-34 is pretty well by my books. And still, the KT might die to this Su-85, which was earlier on mistakenly held back, but now it might be able to destroy the KT. However, the KT survives with a sliver of health. I wonder if this Centaur might try to get behind it and get some cheeky 20mm gunshots in the rear. However, the Su-85 is also destroyed by the German infantry and the Jagdpanzer. So, finally a bit of help from you noobs on my team making me sick. Sorry about that. Anyway. No, you cannot, because the Germans aren't using planes. Anyway, left-hand side still going very much in favor of the Allies, although Germans do have a bit of hope on this side. Of course, a couple of stolen Raketenwerfer is going to force away the Jagdpanzer IV, and with the Lamb Mattress getting into action, things might not be looking so good for the Germans. German Germs are getting pushed back to their bases. In the meantime, on the right side, there's a big, huge, massive tank push for the Allies. They're doing quite a lot of damage, and there's the GGs coming through, actually, from the Germans, so it might be a little bit of a surrender right now. Looks like we had some flame mortar barrages going down on this side, but yeah, nothing much. Overall, yeah, I feel like the Germans really put their wrong eggs in the wrong basket. They should have put the right eggs in the right basket. Putting the elephant right on the sort of extreme right, where all of the line of sight blockers were, really neutralized its effectiveness, and not putting it into the center and putting King Tigers over there facing off against Fireflies allowed the Allies some free shots in, and then they could come in and finish them off. Also, they pushed in a lot of the time without infantry support for some reason, and also with one player coming in at a time, whereas the Allies, as you saw down here, at least always had a 2-player push going. Of course, except for the left-hand side where we had Stolker going one-man army all the time, but that was fine. So yeah, pretty much that's about it. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you soon, hopefully. And as always, if you want your replay to be casted, you could probably just kind of send the file to the email. The email link will be in the description. If you have enjoyed, drop down a like. I'll see you soon.